Welcome back. You're watching NDTV 24/7. Now, for the last 3 days, the top trend on Twitter has been none other than Sachin Tendulkar. And unsurprisingly, because playing his 200th and last test, Sachin has been on everyone's mind. Today, he got out at 74 in what was probably his last innings ever. And it's all really at this point about celebrating Sachin and talking about his very fitting farewell to a long and glorious career. We asked our viewers to send in video blogs. This is what they had to say.
Hi Sachin, आज आपका 200वां आखिरी टेस्ट मैच है। इसके लिए आपको बहुत बहुत हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। जिस तरह आपने 24 साल तक देश के लिए खेला और इसे जिताया, वही हमारे लिए एक बहुत बड़ी बात है और सम्मान की बात है।
Hello, I am Ajit Ranjan and I am a big fan of Sachin and he has played tremendously since all these years, and I wish that he continues further in his life with so much dedication and so much of fun which he has always shown in his life, and I wish him best of luck in the future also.
And joining us now, our guests, V. Krishnaswamy, sports journalist, who's going to be really putting in perspective what these last 2 days have meant for sports lovers across the country and across the world. So, we've been talking ever since Sachin Tendulkar announced his retirement. We've been talking about it. But watching him step out there yesterday, start scoring the runs, watch him get out at 74 today, was it a mixed feeling? Was it a mixed feeling of seeing him bat that one last time of euphoria and also of knowing that this was the last time, probably, that we'd see him?
I would say it was a mixed bag, considering when you see him coming down those steps for one last time, and then that was yesterday, and then today when you saw him go up the steps, back into the pavilion for one last time, there was a kind of, I thought I detected a tear in his eye, wipe a little bit of a tear when he reached that 50 mark. And I think it must have been a kind of an emotional moment for most of the people who've seen him over the last 24 years. I have seen him for 2.5 decades now, and that the man has carried up himself absolutely fantastic. He's been an ambassador not just for sport, not just for cricket, but for the entire country. In that sense, it was a hugely emotional moment. And when you then tell yourself, as Rahul Dravid mentioned in one of his pieces and then the commentary, he says, when you suddenly realize that you may never see this man bat again, that finality is what suddenly takes you aback. We've been used to seeing Indian cricket again and again come back from various points, with Sachin Tendulkar leading the way. It's not just when he scores runs, the very fact that when he walks out with the team onto the ground, there is a sense of comfort, there is a sense of reliability, and that is not going to be there.
Right. So clearly they're looking at a truly remarkable career. We saw a lot of people in the build-up to this Test match, talk about what they wanted to see from Sachin's last innings. There were people who were like, we'd like to see him score a 50, we'd like to see him score 100, we want to see a hook shot, we want to see a pull shot, we want to see Sachin, play some of those classic shots that he's played all his career. What was it that you wanted to see, and did you see it?
Well, one of the things that has been the hallmark of Sachin has been that he has been absolutely fantastic when it comes to landmarks, and he's also, as I said before, he's carried himself off so very well. It would have been a fitting tribute if he'd got into another century. Not that 101 centuries would have meant anything. 100 centuries itself is a monument, is an Everest by itself. So 101 wouldn't have meant anything, but it was just a kind of a fitting farewell for him. He batted beautifully for 74 runs. He scored 38 yesterday and 36 this morning, and I think there was not a single flaw in that. And when he made that a single flaw, tried to steer the ball through the slips, maybe try to get a little bit more, just an extra inch, and I think that is where the end came, and it was a magnificent catch there by Sammy. So I think the best catch, the dream delivery from Dionarain, and I think that there ended not just an innings, but it was the end of an era.
Right. Also joining us, one of those people who are at least luckier than I am, Gaurav Sethi of the Board Cricket Crazy Indians, who was actually in Wankhede watching Sachin Tendulkar play his last innings. Gaurav, you were there among these insane crowds who showed up to pay their tributes to Sachin Tendulkar today. Tell us, what was it like?
After a long time, I went into a stadium and you had water bottles there, and that's an amazing thing to do, because when you hear this, one part of you, no matter how old you are, how little you are, because I saw just about everyone go with bottles, and I got a bottle of water, and I don't think I've done this before. And a group of cricket bloggers, a lot of friends who got together, each one of us circulated this bottle around, and that's what we did. And the match was really about the people in the stands. Now, the north stand where we were was complete madness. You were talking about something which was very loud. The kind of frenzy that was there was so controlled, and that was the beauty of it, because these guys are pros at what they do, and hats off to everyone in Wankhede, because they just went. And if it wasn't for Sachin, which most of it was, but after he got out, you had so much humor and laughs out there. So every time that Ishant Sharma came on, you had Ishant Aya, Pani Laya, and they pretty much had him as the water boy. You had a fair amount of abuse, which was very funny because it was hardcore Hindi, and that's the kind of stuff which will have to be totally beeped out here, but it was as funny, and it was totally out there. And what I felt, and the reason that I did go to Wankhede or want to go, was to see the crowd. I mean, I knew it was going to be Sachin's last match, but the whole deal was about the crowd, and they did not disappoint. And this is something, I mean, I've been quite happy if it had gone on 4 or 5 days, because it's like a loop that you get into each time, and you just feed on it. So when you come back from the stadium, you still have it buzzing in your head. This sound, it's amazing. Yeah.
And, I'm just going to put a last question to both of you. Today, other than, of course, Sachin's 74th, Sachin's 200th match, we saw 2 great centuries coming from 2 young cricketers. Mr. Krishnaswamy, do you feel that this is the legacy that Sachin Tendulkar is leaving behind?
Well, certainly. I mean, for a man who's contributed so much to Indian cricket for almost quarter of a century, I think it was. I think he would have been happy to see that Indian cricket is in very good hands, very good young hands, I would say. And so, so to see those 2 players get their centuries, and to know that Indian cricket is on its way up. I mean, when he came in, I saw some very interesting statistics. In the 200 odd Test matches that India played before Sachin came onto the scene, India's winning average was just over 16%, and in the period that he played his 200 Test matches, the winning percentage was more than doubled. So now we can see that Sachin brought India to a certain level, and from here we have a team that can carry on the legacy, and I'm sure Sachin will be very proud of that.
Gaurav, is that the sense you got as well when Rohit Sharma there made his 2nd century? You think that we were seeing the next generation now gracefully taking up the mantle?
I don't think I was thinking any of that. I don't think anyone there was thinking cricket. What I did think was, this was, the temple of Tendulkar and everyone out here, and it sounds so hack, but I gotta say it was a devotee. It was just about Sachin and the people there. The fact, and Cheteshwar Pujara is my favorite Indian cricketer. And I was happy that he made 100, but, even Rohit Sharma, it wasn't about them. They could have gone and made doubles. Sachin could have scored nothing.
It was all about Sachin. Thank you so much, V. Krishnaswamy and Gaurav Sethi there, talking to us about the legacy of Sachin. And what can I say other than what's been trending all day, which is